What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Death of the Asia. I'm not gonna hold you, but I had to get on here real quick and talk about Lil Boosie and Gabrielle Union going at each other on social media. This is so crazy, but I am not surprised that Gabrielle Union spoke her speech about Lil Boosie. We all know that Lil Boosie has been notorious for talking about the Wade family, specifically about the things that's going on with Zaya Wade, their daughter that is transgender or whatnot, right? So apparently, Gabrielle Union was on the show doing the interview. Apparently, this was last year, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not exactly sure, but some people went to digging and they found this clip, right? I'm not gonna play it because I don't know about the copyright and all of that, but it's neither here nor there. I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard it by now. But anyway, just paraphrasing, Gabrielle Union basically said on the interview that Lil Boosie, he has a lot of D on his mind. You know what I'm saying? And said that for whatever reason he always got Zaya name in his mouth, and he has Lil Nas X name in his mouth all the time. So it's interesting that Lil Boosie has D on his mind a lot, and she was basically hitting around the idea that he could possibly be closeted because he's so preoccupied with homosexuality, right? So the internet went crazy. The internet, this happened, I think this was last night. I think it was last night when the clip came out, because I know a lot of people was like, when Lil Boosie see this, oh shit, when Lil Boosie see this, it's going down. And Lil Boosie seen it, right? So here's the thing. This is what I want to talk about in regards to this. I want to break some things down, because a lot of people were saying that the way Gabrielle Union clapped at Boosie, she was doing the very same thing that she says that Lil Boosie does. People were saying that Gabrielle Union was being homophobic, and I'm gonna break that down as the reason why that actually was not homophobic. So anyway, Lil Boosie, he wakes up, he checks to see what's going on, and he see that he's trending, and he's trying to figure out what he's trending for. And once he realized what he's trending for, and Gabrielle Union had spoke her speech, Lil Boosie went onto Twitter and he wrote this paragraph going off talking about how, what she don't know is that her husband actually likes D. And what she needs to do is go home and strap and hit him with the dildo. And said that the black community don't look at them as a power couple or anything like that. And then he called her a white girl, I guess because of the way that she articulates herself, which that is tired in through. But anyway, a lot of people was like, Gabrielle Union just should have kept her mouth closed. She shouldn't have said anything. She shouldn't have came for Lil Boosie. Lil Boosie hadn't talked about them in a while and all of that. It does not matter. It does not matter. She still has a right to defend her family whenever she gets the time or the platform in order to do so. If someone asks her a question and she wants to answer it the same way, Vlad be sitting up there asking Lil Boosie all of the controversial questions, and he start saying anything out his mouth. So a person has a right in order to, speak their speech and defend their family. But here's the thing, though. Both of them have some wrong. Both of them have some wrong. I'm gonna tell you something. Gabrielle Union, she wants to sit and complain about her family being in people's mouth all the time. Specifically, Zaya being in people's mouth all the time. Zaya is a minor, and of course, she's transitioning. However, the public should not have been privy to what is going on with a minor child transitioning. That is private information that should just be shared amongst the family. And being that Gabrielle Union and Z Wade, they are both high profile celebrities, they understand that the internet, social media itself is not a safe place. So I feel like they failed to protect their child in that instance in order to make a larger point. I don't know what was the whole meaning or reasoning behind them announcing what Zaya is going through. That wasn't for all of us to know. And you cannot be a public figure. You put this type of information out that a lot of people are just not used to dealing with. We haven't got to the point where we are able to digest certain things, a minor making decisions like this. Um, we're not, we're not there yet. And I don't know if that speaks to just us as a society. I don't know what that speaks to, but at the end of the day, it's parameters that you should have in place in order to protect your child. So I always felt as though us knowing about Zaya Wade transitioning, it was not necessary. I don't care about what's going on with a child. I don't need to know when your child first lost their virginity, whether they're heterosexual or, I'm saying, homosexual or not. I don't need to know that your child is transitioning or anything like that. The public doesn't need to be aware of those type of things. So I feel Gabrielle when she says, it seems like he has this on his mind a lot, but y'all the ones putting that stain on our brain. Y'all the ones putting it out there, So of course people are gonna talk about it. Does Boosie go too far? He does. And to Gabrielle's defense, and people trying to call her homophobic and trying to use reverse psychology when she said it's giving me that you're somewhat interested in the other side of the fence yourself, it's not homophobic, because the thing is, after a while, when a person is too preoccupied, when a heterosexual person is too preoccupied with homosexuality, and they want to demonize it and talk down on it and all of this old kinds of stuff. We see it all the time in the churches where preachers, their sermons is surrounded about, demonizing people for homosexuality, and they be in there messing around with children. Not only do they be homosexuals, they be pedophiles as well, right? So it's not a reach for someone to think that this preoccupation can be a cover up for your actual sexual orientation. And you have people that'll say, well, it seems black, it's always the black woman. Black women, they act like they love the gays and everything, but they'll use they will weaponize homosexuality towards people. Baby, let me tell you something. As part of the LGBT community, baby, the gay people think the same thing about Lil Boosie. It's not a thing. It's not a thing about weaponizing or anything. It's like, hey, you know what? You always got something to say about people being gay or whatever the case may be, and you always talking down. You be more concerned about gay shit than gay people. It seems to me that you're a closeted gay, and that's just putting it out there. That's not being homophobic. That's not saying that it's something wrong if Lil Boosie is gay, but it's something wrong if you are a closeted gay and you are talking down on gay people. I know so many gay people that used to act like Lil Boosie. Swear to God. So many of them. Now, I'm not putting that jacket on that man back, and I don't think Lil Boosie is gay for real. You know what I'm saying? It's just a matter of, like, you really do have this preoccupation, so it's given like some type of, I don't know if you like that or you have some type of curiosity or whatnot. It's real weird after a while for a heterosexual man to be so preoccupied and try to make it seem like he's being gay is hurting the black community more than what he does. The type of music that he put out, the type of lifestyle he has lived, being that you done been, you know what I'm saying, locked up for a whole bunch of bodies and everything. And also, let's be very clear, he also hired a grown woman to technically sexually assault his child and his nephew, right? So, but he wants to be one of the spokesperson for the community and say, of all things that is going on in the world, someone being trans or someone being homosexual has to be the worst thing that could ever happen to the black community. You know what I'm saying? According to what history tells me, You done off the whole bunch of black people. So what is you saying? You get what I'm saying? So I'm just not here for Lil Boosie and his rants when it comes to that. But I mean, the Wade family did put the business out there in the streets. And so you also had people that were saying, that Gabrielle Union shouldn't have said anything. That D Wade should have been the one to say something. Y'all are weird. Don't do that. Don't don't do that. It's they're not having they are not out there having a fist fight. They having an exchange for words, and that's her stepchild. She has a right to protect her family just as well as D Wade has a right to protect his family. Gabrielle Union was in the middle of the interview, and she said what she wanted to say within the interview. She didn't like launch a full on attack or anything like that. And it's this thing like, oh, now all of a sudden, I'm gonna tell you something about black people that be tripping me out. Y'all trip me out. When it comes to something like that, some BS, when Gabrielle Union said something to the to about Lil Boosie, it's all, she shouldn't have said this, and y'all know proper ways to do stuff. But I have had conversations when I say something about things that are dysfunctional, like, bitch, you probably should have made that man marry you before you had his baby and everything. Then all of a sudden it's to each his own, and you know what I'm saying? People could do what they want to do, and women are different nowadays, and we don't need a man for this and all that bullshit. Y'all y'all get it when it's some dysfunctional things that y'all participate in. But when it's something like, oh, okay, she just clapped back in defense of her family, now all of a sudden it's some proper rule in a way that that's supposed to be handled. Y'all know the pecking order when that's concerned. But when it's some real shit, all of a sudden it's to each his own, and everybody can freelance and do whatever it is that they want to do. I'm sick and tired of that. She ain't do no wrong by saying something. And then people were also saying too, they were like, well, Boosie hadn't mentioned them in a while, so she shouldn't have said nothing. She just should have let sleeping dogs lie. And Boosie also came out and was like, I ain't even been talking about y'all in the interview. It doesn't matter when you talked about them in the interview or not. You talked about them in the interview, and she had something to say. I'm like, Boosie had been talking about these people for, I'm talking about, it seemed like 1 or 2 years, like 1 or 2 whole years, Boosie been talking about the Wade family. He just got to the point where he's like, I'm not gonna talk about these people anymore, right? He been talking about them, but now all of a sudden, when they say something to him, he take issue. Now all of a sudden, see, I was minding my business. I wasn't even talking about y'all. But hell, when you were talking about them, they were minding their business. You know what I'm saying? It was out there in the public, but it was their business that they were minding. So I don't know. It's crazy. And I just hope that, right, I just hope this part of it is the end of it. Uh Boosie was wrong for the way he dragged D Wade though. He ain't have to drag he ain't have to drag D Wade like that. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I gotta give Boosie this too. Now, um, I did kind of get a feeling with the Zaya Wade situation and the way that it was all put out there, and then all of a sudden D Wade walking around with dyed hair and nail polish and all this kind of stuff. He was giving real fish. It was real fishy. You hear me? And the way he was running around, I was just like, is D Wade trying to live vicariously through his child? That's it did kind of rub me like that. And that's the thing. It did kind of rub me like that. So what Boosie said as far as the sentiments within the black community and the thoughts and the feelings of black people or whatever, and I'm sure there's a lot of other people who think that, you know, um D Wade might have some type of alternative sexual orientation that hadn't been disclosed. And if he does, that's absolutely okay. But I mean, there are people who think that way or feel that way about Dwyane Wade. But all of this thing where Gabrielle Union trying to be homophobic and that's not the case. And it's nothing wrong with pointing out a thing and saying, hey, you know what you're doing, it gives me the impression that you could possibly be interested in what you're talking about. Then you also have a lot of black men, and they'll say stuff like, as soon as a black woman get mad at a black man, she want to attack his masculinity. She want to attack his manhood. And it's like, I'm so sick and tired of men and their fragile masculinity and feeling like everybody except them supposed to be protecting their manhood. It's like a black man can say any and everything they want to about people, but as soon as you say something to them, let you call them a bitch or something, now all of a sudden you done draw the line. I'm a man, it's all about my respect. And it's like, only your respect matters, nobody else's respect matters. You can say and do whatever you want to do, but when somebody say something to you, like, y'all actually some of the most sensitive motherfuckers on the planet. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody say something to y'all, now all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, that's off limits. You can't say that. I'm a man and it's all about respect. You got to respect me as a man. Fuck all of that. You know what I'm saying? You want respect, you need to respect other people as well. Don't nobody owe you no respect just because you got dick and balls in between your legs. It just does not work like that. Because that's one of the main things. You trying to strip away his manhood or whatever the case may be. I'm not concerned about any of that. It's not my responsibility or nobody else's responsibility to protect your manhood, because men don't even put themselves in certain type of situations. So let's be very clear. So make sure your behavior is that of a stand-up guy, so that way you will be respected as such. Because you can't be running around here fucking with people, talking about people, cutting up, acting a fool, doing whatever it is that you want to do. You out here, you know what I'm saying, wilding out like everybody else on Instagram and Twitter, little Boosie. And then when somebody say something about you, all of a sudden your manhood is being disrespected. But yet, and then people want to sit here and turn around and say Gabrielle Union was being homophobic. But how about Lil Boosie did the same thing to D Wade then? That he's saying that Gabrielle Union tried to do to him, attacking his manhood or whatever. It's the same thing. All is fair in love and war. So people need to quit deciding that they quit trying to think that they could decide how mad somebody else could get. You do not start a fire and expect to control the flames. You cannot start bothering people and then expect for them to just lie down and take it. These people could clap back when they want to or whatever. If you don't want any reaction to anything, then don't do things to people. Because if you say something, you do something to somebody, however they choose to handle that afterwards, that's up to them. You don't pick and choose to get to decide how somebody's supposed to handle having their feelings hurt. Quit hurting people's feelings if that's the case. You don't get to be, just because these people lifestyle is something that you don't agree with, Lil Boosie, just because you don't agree with their lifestyle. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that don't agree with yours and the decisions that you have made. But just because you don't agree doesn't give you the right to be nasty. And if you're gonna be nasty towards people, then you gotta be able to deal with what comes with it, the consequences that comes with that. If you want to sit up on platforms and you want to talk about people, don't try to play victim and don't try to tuck your tail or whatever when they come for you and just say, well, I wasn't bothering you right now, but you have bothered me before. And I don't give a damn if you bothered me back in 1992. If I wake up in 2022 and I got it on my mind and I want to respond to it, I'm going to respond to it, because this is something that I experienced that made me feel some type of way. So you can't tell Gabrielle Union what she should and should not be doing or saying, because Boosie done said some of the most wildest stuff. I remember it was a point in time Boosie was saying something every other day, every other week, to where he had took over the internet. every week. What Boosie say? What Boosie say? What Boosie do? Fucking with them people. You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden, well, I wasn't bothering y'all. I said I was gonna leave y'all alone. Like now you doing us a favor. No, sir, it does not work like that. But anyway, like I said, I ain't gonna hold you. I just want to get on here real quick and talk about that. If y'all like the video, hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I thank y'all so much for tuning in here with me. Make sure you hit the notification bell as well, because y'all see I am so random. Also our podcast, the Hip Hop School Past and the Hip Hop School Past and Present podcast, it has moved to Friday nights at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. For right now, it's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. It may be some changes to that, but make sure you click the link down below in the description box and to the Hip Hop School Past and Present podcast, and subscribe to them as well. If you like all things hip hop, it goes down on there. We really get into some things on that show. And thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm about to tune out. Y'all have a good one.
I hope you black men were paying attention. I hope you black men were paying attention.